As the Dwarf Journey continues into Lord of the Rings Online, I am now getting into more and more challenging content. Mobs are capable of two-shotting me, elves hate me because I have a beard, and of course the ridiculous tediousness of some quests in between. But once I made this change with my character, I can take on multiple mobs at the same time without breaking a sweat. It's actually incredible. Here's what happened. So in a warm summer field where we last left Caffeinated Dad, he's enjoying being alive and not dead because the dwarf cook who he was escorting in the last episode accidentally summoned a wraith, and we booked it the hell out of there. It's not worth the EXP. Well, here we are, still alive, and certainly not dealing with any undead boy business. I read some of the comments on how to adjust some of the cosmetics in my character panel from my previous video, where you can basically wear something without actually replacing the value of your specific item. After some mild deliberation, I figured it out on how my dwarf boy can use his wolfskin cloak without losing any of the stats, so thank you for that. Well, the first quest I am after is actually to recover this really nice bow that was stolen by, you guessed it, evil dwarves. But the first problem I ran into is with my camera, and it's auto-tracking enemies that I'm targeting, regardless of the direction that I'm facing. It's mildly frustrating because it's my character is focusing on these mobs like they are an extra large beef burrito from Taco Bell. It took some time, but stop staring, it's rude. And apparently it was an option that I accidentally toggled. The search bar really in this UI is awesome. Well, I get down into this mini city, and now I need to find this dwarf who stole a bow from a human next to Langlass. So cruising through here, I have my bleeds rolling and my hard-hitting attacks, of course, but I'm also getting chunked. Fairly hard, to be honest. Of course, Sauron is throwing his evil death pillar eyes at me, but not doing really much because I've raided in Final Fantasy XIV, and I know a thing or two about avoiding the bad. I still decided to play Black Mage though, and I die quite frequently. Well, as I pull more of these boys, I do end up getting fairly low, so I have to wait a little bit longer in between pulls. Overall, it's really not all that bad, as I'm loaded up with simple rations. I do plan on getting into food eating bits and crafting because it does apparently stack. You can have multiple food buffs stacked at the same time. Well, after killing about 100 of these freaking dour hands, I'm starting to get concerned. I still haven't found the dwarf Starcath, who I accidentally read as Starcraft. But guess who does decide to show up now that I'm in the middle of a fight? Another effing wraith. Listen, I'm a Redline Guardian on Fearless 3. There's no way in hell I can take one of these guys down solo. They simply just hit too damn hard. Well, I run away like the little bee that I am because I don't want any of that smoke. As I'm waiting for my health to regen, I decide to reread the text to see if I can find out any more information, only to find that the dwarf is outside the walls, not inside. Oh, there goes 20 minutes. Well, anyway, I spend less than 5 seconds outside the walls, find him, and kill him. Damn it. I return back to this lodge to talk to Celebrity or something, I forget his name, who I have to say actually sounds like a punk ass. Listen to his line.
Woe to me.
Well, now that he has the bow back, he's all depressed and he wants me to deliver it back to the elf because he's not worthy. I'm sorry, dude, you annoyed the piss out of me. It's one thing for me to go and rescue your item because you got mugged. But the fact that you can't even take your weak-ass legs a quarter mile away, now, why do I gotta do everything? I turn in this quest to return a lost cub to this definitely not a hunter and his definitely not a pet. And he says, oh, the poor thing's hungry, why don't I go and check some of the nearby traps? Okay, sure. I'll see if I can't get a bunny carcass for them to eat. Why not? This should be easy. There's bunnies all over the place, right? No. This would then be preceded by no less than 25 minutes of checking each one of these traps around the lodge and nothing. They literally must have a 5% chance to find one in one of these traps. The quest then also encourages you to go off and try to hunt down a bunny yourself, but I just realized how bad at surviving my dwarf actually is, because I literally couldn't find a bunny if Daffy Duck was shouting despicable. After all these damn tribulations, I find the bunny food, and then he bounces me out yet again to go and collect some thistle plants to make my lynx feel better because he has some tummy aches. Okay, but I'm only doing this because I have a soft spot for cats, or else I'd say get it your damn self, you lazy dwaddle. Luckily, this one's very easy and very fast, because they're spawned all over the place. Not only the fact that I've had to do everything myself to save this damn lynx, I then also have to feed her the damn thistle meat. I'm convinced everyone in these MMOs would suffer and die on their own without any of my help. But the next challenge I really quite wasn't ready for. That skull that we picked up in the last episode, fighting off some of the undead skelly boys not too far away from our glamour elf boy, has caused some suspicion, like why the hell are the dead rising? Well, to be fair, Halloween is right around the corner if I'm to be honest, but actually the dead are rising because evil forces want us to be bogged down so we are weaker, so now we have to go out and re-deadening the big bad bone boy. Try saying that 5 times fast. I have to take this elf stone to a standing stone, and before I know what is happening, I am fighting a mound white master. Holy hell, this dude hits like a Mack truck hitting 75 miles an hour on Route 66. Absolutely trucking me. 30, 40 damage each swing, not to mention that I keep getting bleeded and diseased. I have to throw everything at the wall, pop everything, including my potions, and even then I barely scrape away with a win. Holy crap. Well, he dies again. And I get a token of heroism, which is cool, but it doesn't make it any less stressful. Also, ironically, the place itself was with a standing stone. Yeah, you get it, because it's like standing stone gate. Anyway, well, this brush with Undeath actually had me a bit scared, and I said, you know what, let's try something new. Instead of being the offensive-minded, keen blade red dwarf, let's go ahead and be the defender of the free. Let's grab a shield and a hammer and start being defensive oriented. I reroute all my abilities to have more mitigation, better parry and blocking chance, and here we go. Ironically, the defensive tree is actually incredibly reactive versus proactive. Literally, I have to spam sting until I get a reaction, or if I block or parry the attacks myself. This is actually a pretty cool interaction, I'm not gonna lie, because it kind of makes it feel like you are a defender and you are taking what the enemy is giving you and throwing it back at them. I like this. And I kind of got caught up in the bleed build because perhaps I thought that the bleed build was going to be much more offensively minded, it was going to be a lot more damaging, but went defensive, and I had to say I had a better time. Well, I go on smacking this wolf to test things out, you know, see how things are going. And of effing course, the first mob we kill, guess what? Here's a wraith. Well, don't worry, bud. I'm built for this kind of thing. Do your worst. Okay, his worst was about like 5-shotting me instead of 2-shotting me, so that's mild improvement, I guess. As I was fighting through, I did end up getting the confidence virtue, which looks like it may help me with some more well-balanced offensive and defensive skills. I limp back to Gundam for some recuperation, and then I grab 2 quests that have me run all the way back to that first damn dwarf port so I can avenge the brother who got murdered by the evil dwarfs. But like, can you guys like organize, stop running out of the city, like travel in large packs, you know, befriend Gandalf. Can you guys do something? It shouldn't have to always fall down to my epic beard to do all the work. Well, I run all the way back to the port for the second time, and I murder literally every dour hand as I am pushing forward. And I also steal all the chests, which are part of the other quest. No pressure here. Actually, it's nothing. I'm taking so little damage, it's actually insane. On that return, I am able to deal so much more damage to these guys and fairly quickly. It kind of makes my red line guardian feel so much weaker, actually. But I have so much more defensive and mitigation now. It's actually awesome. Well, after cleaning up the streets like a short stack Batman, I find all the chests here and I take on multiple mobs, easy peasy. But I'm so close to level 14, so I turn in all the quests hoping that it'll fill me up, but it does not. I also pick up this skirmisher bow, and holy crap, this thing does like insane big boy damage. Like, you guys will see what I mean. Now it's time for me to actually do the main quest. I actually should have been doing all along. I haven't touched it in a very little bit because I've been stacking up on these extra side quests. Well, it's basically me walking up to the first boss at like level 99. Well, I ride back to Langlass and he says we need to go and save the elf prince so the elves don't murder all the dwarves in the land because the elves thought that all the dwarves are the same. Okay, say less, queen, I'm untouchable. Now it's time for us to avert a war. So we get into this instance and right away I right click the first mob I see and I start pelting him at range. But once these guys get into melee, they absolutely melt in my face. Like, holy crap, they're dying so quickly. I also realize now that instance content removes the fearless difficulty modifier. It actually is just a lot easier. Well, once my bow actually does make a connection, it deals a ton of damage. And it attacks so fast, like I'm able to put in 5 or 6 arrows before the guy even gets to me. I was actually just going to use it to pull mobs and help tag individual creatures, but this is incredible. As I'm committing dwarf on dwarf genocide, I level up and I get charge, which I'm thinking is, oh, you target this and you rush towards the enemy, like you charge the enemy. Nope. It's a straight up movement speed modifier. My dwarf picks up the pace like Usain Bolt after 15 cups of coffee. Holy crap. So I press through the camp, murdering everything and everyone with my trusty bow in hand. Once they get into melee range, I smack them around no problem. And I actually feel like a true adventurer here. At the top of the camp, we find Hakon Ironfist, and the elf prince is not here. This dude taunts us like he's gonna win, but he doesn't know how skilled I am at a bow. So I shot him 4 times, and I think I missed every single time. Anyway, well, we murk him really quickly, and he tells us that the prince is in another castle and is about to be shipped off down the river. More specifically, he's at a port. That GD port that we have, we are revisiting for the 3rd time. Well, I grab Guardian's Pledge, which is a flat damage mitigation cooldown with block, parry, and evade for a short period of time. I head off a bit east to talk to Svanir, who knows how he's going to help us save the prince, who's on a boat who's about to be shipped down a river to the worst place in Middle-earth, Gimli's Footlocker. Well, his plan was actually for me to just be thrown at the wall and murder everything on my way through. And again, seriously, I'm plowing through everything, no contest. I am kind of unstoppable, but there's also significantly less dwarves here than there are in the open world, so I murder my way all the way to the boat to defend Averthal, the elf prince, and out comes the captain of the boat, and his name is Voland, but I'm sorry, but being the captain of the boat, you die so easily. I was hoping for more of a challenge. Well, the day is saved, and our dwarf boy is the hero, at least to the pointy ears. Averthal overheard some conversations that Skorgrim, the evil dwarf king that we accidentally watched get resurrected, is planning on taking his goblin army and raising the whole of Middle-earth. We have some more problems to deal with. Okay, so this leg of the dwarf boy journey has been great. I seriously didn't suspect changing my specs to a shield-bearing one would make such a difference. Like, it is huge. I'm now able to mitigate all sorts of damage while also dishing out quite a bit of it. It's actually crazy how well this works. Now, I do know that there's a lot of abilities that I need to react to instead of just doing my normal rotation like my red guardian, but overall it's really not that huge of an issue as I have ways of creating openings with mainly Sting. I will say that I do want to dual spec a little bit into the yellow trait line because it seems like it has a lot more versatility with shields as well as dishing out more damage. But overall, the block and parry responses, it's insane how much damage it actually does. It's pretty crazy. The story is starting to pick up because we needed to rescue the elf prince, but now there's even a bigger threat of evil goblin armies that are rising to destroy everything and everyone we love. There is no sense to them, no community, no friendship, only violence, these goblins. Take that, Rings of Power. Well, we will now have to travel to the lands of Bree to deal with man, which honestly, I'm okay with. I'm kind of sick of all these dwarves. Well, not my dwarf, but you get the point. If you want to catch up on any part of the journey, you can click through the playlist here, which will take you to the whole series. Otherwise, stay caffeinated, folks.